On August 25, 2020, Kassandra Cantrell disappeared. She left her house in her car and drove off in an unknown direction. She did not tell anyone and failed to answer her phone calls. The police took a long time to take a report from her mother, but Mary Smith was sure that something bad had happened. If the cops would just get to work, she might still be able to see her daughter living. Hi, and welcome back to our channel. If you are new here, please consider subscribing, as it helps us motivate to create more intriguing content for you. Let's have a look at the heart-wrenching case of Kassandra Cantrell. Being afraid is a bad and terrible emotion. Would anyone want to go through it again and again? Only Kassandra and her twin brother Rob were different. As kids, they loved telling scary stories to each other in a dark room every day. At least Rob thought he was good at telling stories. Afterward, he would lie on his bed and comment quietly that she couldn't even scare the neighbors with stories like that. She expressed her dislike for scary tales. They also watched the animated show Scooby-Doo together and fought about which character would be a ghost or a vampire in disguise. It was common for Kassandra to guess things before her brother did, which made him worried. Even though she was not as interested in reading as the twins, their mother tried to make her kids love it. She got them Robert Wall books. It was not just a hobby for the brother and sister as kids. They loved scary stories all their lives. They even gathered figurines of bad guys, and when they were older, they really thought about opening a store with horror-themed items. Kassandra came to the set in 2004 because she liked scary movies. She had a small role in a scary movie that, even though it was not a big hit, made a lot of people jealous. Rob asked his sister to help him make a deal. Kassandra said that she must have made some acquaintances there and that she was ready to play any role. She requested Kassandra to speak further and mention being on good terms with the head of the cast. She added that something might come out of it, but she made no promises, considering that she got the part by accident. Rob was very happy, but he could not play, even if it was just for a few episodes. Kevin Dudley was in charge of the cast in that movie, and there was a spark between him and the new girl on the set. They all did not have the courage to take the first step. All of that changed at a work Halloween party. Oren dressed up as Alex from A Clockwork Orange, and Kassandra dressed up as Velma from Scooby-Doo. For Kassandra, the cartoon character was just a picture, but for Colin Dudley, the character seemed like more than that. He walked around all night with a milk glass in his hand and glared at everyone, just like his character did in the movie. He also talked a lot about quotes from the book. For instance, he looked at Kassandra with pleasure and said, "Beauty always made me want to destroy it because it did not fit at all into our ugly world." Their relationship quickly took off after she took it as a praise. However, their relationship only lasted for 2 months. Colin met Rebecca, another actor, began dating her. They started living together after a while. The last sighting of Kassandra Cantrell was on August 25, 2020. She left her house without telling anyone and drove off in an unknown direction. She also did not answer the phone. The police did not want to take a report from her mother at first. They tried to calm her down for a long time by telling her that kids grow up and do not always tell their parents when they go out with friends. But Mary Smith was sure that something bad had happened. She thought that she might still be able to see her daughter living if the police stopped being so lazy and got to work. They did not start looking for Kassandra for another 2 days. On the 3rd day, they found her car under a bridge, which was not the best spot. To make things even worse, the keys were inside the open car. It was tough to figure out what Kassandra was doing. Officers often found the bodies of homeless people in this area, either killed in a fight with another person or from an overdose of illegal drugs. The police had to go around the neighborhood and ask a lot of homeless people. When they saw the police, the homeless people tried to run away for a while, but none of it worked. They had not seen Kassandra and did not know when the car arrived. As directed, the detective who was looking for Kassandra had asked to see her cell phone bill. Having done it before, he knew it would not work, and it didn't. The signal told the officers that the phone was in the body of water closest to the bridge. This meant that they would not be able to get it back and get the information they needed. Anyway, a group of divers started looking along the coast. But before they did that, they stood on the shore, picked up rocks, and threw them into the water to see how far they could throw the phone. Kassandra went missing, and her mother said that her phone case was easy to find because it had rhinestones on it. The phone was found quickly, but Kassandra's body was not in the water. This was good news for her mother, but the poor woman did not feel any better. For her, the only thing that mattered was finding her daughter's body and ending this terrible nightmare of not knowing what happened. The mother expressed her sadness, mentioning that she had been looking forward to her granddaughter and wanted to become a grandmother sooner. She also noted that she had not even had the opportunity to prepare a crib, which was currently stored in the garage in a box. She wondered about what to do with it. Little did she know that this information would turn out to be significant for the investigation. The fathers-to-be are responsible for a lot of crimes against pregnant women, according to the numbers. But Mary Smith did not know who her granddaughter's father was. It looked like Kassandra was not married and had not even met anyone, even though she knew how old she was. It made sense that she was pregnant by a man, but Mary did not know anything about the possible father of the kid. According to her mother, she and her daughter frequently communicated through writing and phone calls. However, the daughter didn't record the phone numbers of the people she spoke to in her book, and her mother has now realized it's strange to talk to someone so often without noting their phone number. It was common knowledge that girls could not keep their relationships a secret. Kassandra should have at least one friend with whom she could share her secrets, especially if they were about being pregnant. And that kind of friend was located. During a chat with police, she said that Kassandra had started dating her ex-boyfriend, Colin Dudley, again. Yes, their 2004 engagement did not last long, and it has been 15 years since they broke up. Sometimes it is weird that people remember each other after a long time. He came out to Kassandra, who he had worked with on a movie set in 2014. He found Kassandra on Facebook, wrote her some nice things, and told her that his father had died not long ago. He and his wife, Rebecca, had a rough relationship, so he did not have anyone to talk to about his sadness. Kassandra met up with her ex-boyfriend to talk to him and try to calm him down. She did this out of kindness. The meeting started out as a friendly get-together, but it turned into more. Since 2014, Colin has been living with two families, with Kassandra as his lover. Once the young woman discovered she was pregnant, she did not want to tell Colin Dudley because every time she did, she remembered that they had talked and Colin had said that he did not want any children and was happy that Rebecca could not have any. Kassandra did not want to hurt her boyfriend by telling them that he might have a daughter or son. It could make a real family fall apart, so she did not tell anyone about the news. At the same time, her belly was getting bigger, and the big coats could not hide it. So Colin would not figure out what was going on. Kassandra stopped seeing him. She could not keep it a secret for long, and telling Colin she had another boyfriend would hurt him and make them break up. She told Colin over the phone that she was expecting a child with him because she thought the bitter truth was better than a sweet lie. After being quiet for a while, Colin finally said that he was happy to hear the news. Even though it sounded strange, Kassandra came to the conclusion that Colin was happy. When the detective came to Colin's house and knocked, his wife answered the door. She thought it was not quite right to talk about a lost mistress in front of Colin's legal wife. The officer said that he was an old friend of Dudley's. Colin walked out of the house right away, shut the door behind him, and left with the officer, who had not even introduced himself yet. He seemed to have been looking forward to this meeting for a long time. Colin expressed his gratitude, stating that he appreciated the detective's discretion in not revealing his credentials in front of Rebecca. He commended the detective as a man of honor and a true officer. He then commented on Kassandra's disappearance, finding it strange and perplexing. He mentioned that he couldn't speculate about her whereabouts. Kassandra had informed him about a significant argument with her brother and expressed her concerns. Colin revealed that he had advised her to reconcile with her brother, though he was unsure if she had followed his advice. The police officer knew that Kassandra and Rob had a fight. Rob himself had told him about it. It was just a family mistake, but Kassandra's twin brother was very upset about it because Kassandra had called him the day she disappeared and wanted to talk to him. But his proud brother had turned her down, and now he felt bad about it. She would not have left if his sister had come to see him that day. Colin confessed to the officer that he wasn't the most virtuous person. He expressed his belief that he would face consequences in the afterlife for maintaining a secret relationship with his ex-girlfriend while married for an extended period. He emphasized that matters of the heart are beyond one's control. He explained that in 2014, his father passed away, revealing that his father had strong aversion towards Rebecca, and the feeling was mutual. His father had a fondness for Kassandra and often reminisced about her. Colin mentioned that his father reproached him for ending his relationship with Kassandra soon after Christmas. He added that their family often engaged in conflicts with their parents, accusing them of not understanding, only to realize that it was the children who often failed to comprehend their parents' perspective. After his father's death, Colin felt a strong desire to fulfill one of his father's wishes, leading him to resume his relationship with Kassandra. He expressed the need to break up with Rebecca, but mentioned that he kept delaying the conversation. Colin discussed the emotional toll of dealing with family matters and how he had been leading a double life for 5 years. He talked about making excuses for coming home late to hide his secret, including fabricating stories of fictitious business trips and even purchasing a fishing rod despite his dislike for fishing, all to cover up his visits to Kassandra. He admitted to telling Rebecca that he was going to the lake while secretly seeing Kassandra. He even mentioned buying fish from the supermarket to make it seem convincing, even though he despised the smell of fish. The detective inquired whether Colin was aware of Cassandra's pregnancy. Colin responded, questioning who the father might be. The detective explained that he lacked that specific information, but that Kassandra had informed a close friend that Colin was the father. Colin disputed this claim, stating that Kassandra had been avoiding him lately, and he believed she had found someone else due to her desire for a family, which he couldn't provide. When Colin was asked when he last saw her, he said he couldn't remember exactly, but thought it was about 3 to 4 months ago. He mentioned a quick meeting at the mall, but it doesn't really count because he was just passing by while his wife was trying on clothes. Colin queried once more if there was any hope of finding Kassandra alive. The officer assured him they were doing everything possible. This was not the last time Colin saw the officer. The cops asked about the missing persons calls, even though Cassandra's phone was taken from the bottom of the pond and could not be found. It turned out that the unsigned number her mother told her about belonged to Colin Dudley. Most of the time, Kassandra called him, and they even called each other on the day she went missing. Also that day, the police got CCTV video from the train station near the bridge where Cassandra's abandoned car had been found. On it, they saw a strange man standing out among the other people on the platform. He had gloves on, a long robe over his shoulders, a scarf over his face, and a hat on his head with sides that covered his eyes. Although the officer could not make out the face, he said that the man's walk looked a lot like Colin Dudley's. What about the hat? It looked a lot like the one Alex wore in A Clockwork Orange. Investigators kept following the strange man through CCTV cameras and saw that he went into the cafe for a short time, came out, and then went to the parking lot where he got in his car and drove off. The man never showed his face, but they could see Colin Dudley's license plate number on the car he got into. His house was searched after a unit was sent there. The police had hoped that Kassandra was still living and in Dudley's basement. There was no proof of a murder at Colin's house at first, but in the closet they found the hat Colin was trying to hide under. Then they went to the basement, but Kassandra was not there, and there was no sign of the crime. That being said, the service dog, which was trained to look for blood, barked as it sniffed the couch, which was a very red flag. Colin said he had not done anything wrong, and that the police were trying to blame him for the crime even though they did not have any proof or any other suspects. When the police officer talked to his wife, she was shocked by what was going on in their home, the charges against her husband, and the fact that she had been lied to for years. She could say many things about her husband and her feelings, but when the detective asked her if her husband was dangerous, she told him no after giving it a lot of thought. Even though there was a lot of proof against Colin, it was not enough to put him in jail. This made Robin Mary Smith very angry, and the detective just gave up. It was time to question Colin again. He gave the crime a lot of thought, because he had a good reason not to be guilty of all the charges. The morning of August 25th at 6:30 a.m., Colin went to a hardware shop and bought trash bags and chemicals for cleaning the house. The store's cameras did indeed show it, but the big trash bags made it seem less important. Then Kassandra sent Colin a text message saying she was almost at his house. Colin deleted the message right away, though, but the cell phone company kept a record of it, and the cops got it from the call and message dump. Also, their cell phone bill shows that the couple did not leave the house for several hours that morning. Colin then turned off his phone, but, most likely by accident, left his mistress's phone on. The police were able to see his full path, including where he was seen on the station's CCTV cameras. It was already known to the police that Colin dumped Kassandra's phone in the pond after leaving the cafe, where he was likely cleaning up in the bathroom to recover from the murder. Now it was time to look for Kassandra's body. The cops took a GPS tracker from Colin's car so they could get a better idea of the route. The device perfectly copied how Kassandra's cell phone signal moved. But there was new proof in the case. Based on what he did the next day, the police followed his trail through the woods again and found a big trash can tied with ropes in a gully. Blood was all over the ground around it, and it was clear what was inside the box. They were right, of course. It had been a month since the murder, so it was hard to figure out who there was. The search notes explained Kassandra's tattoo, which helped the cops. Colin was caught that same day and charged with murder. Forensics did an investigation and found that the person died because their skull was fractured by blunt force injuries. When the cops looked in the basement of the Dudley house, they found blood that could not be completely cleaned up. She did not know anything about the killings. She spent the whole day in a different part of the house, where she could not hear any noise from the basement. Plus, she told Colin that he was lying when he said she could not have children. Colin had never wanted children. Police thought this was why the crime happened. During the trial, it was impossible to prove that Colin Dudley killed the person because there were no witnesses and no physical proof, like the murder weapon. The court then made a deal with the killer. He would get a lighter term if he admitted guilt. Colin got 26 years in jail for his crime. Even though they had not accepted to meet with their sister before she died, Kassandra's mother and brother were still upset that the killer would probably live to see the day he could get away with his crime. What are your thoughts about this case? Let us know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.